Hello again, arting world of YouTube, which is different from my traditional gaming. Have some music, because everyone does this. So here's the deal. Someone had asked me for a tutorial in MMD, so here is MMD, which, if you're unfamiliar with MMD, this is a promotional program that was put out back when Vocaloid was pretty new. And I have currently the latest version. A couple of things you should probably note is MME, which you have to get separately. And it's kind of a good thing to get it, and it's not hard to install. I'll make sure I put the link to that on the Learn MMD website, so that way y'all can go get it. But when you open the program, you'll see all this stuff, and this window is your view window, which you can get separate by going to the view tab and it's separate window. This is all for motion data. Your interpol curve is also for motion data, and then the play is to view that. So you're going to need to, if you're not animating, which is kind of my thing, so I don't animate, then you're not going to have to worry about these three things. But to start off, because I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible, and I suck at this. A quick look through my my channel will tell you that. But you're going to load in a model, going down to the Model Manipulation tab, hit Load, and then it'll open a menu, and this is sort of a edit/retexture, which I did not do the hair. Somebody else did that. I did the retexture because I like E85. So when you get into this, what we're going to do is go through a few of the controls. First off, if you have MME installed, then you can open your effect mapping and you can set the effect of, and I have no idea if this is actually recording. Nope, that's not it. But you can set the effect of the model, and for ease of use, I'm just going to throw on an adult shader, because I tend to use the adult shader and the serious shader quite often. Stock MMD has the accessory manipulation, which is how you load in other effects, such as, that's arguably probably the best one to load in right now, this one, Power DOF, which depth of field, it adds a little bit of a view to that, and this is lagging, so I am going to turn that off. I don't have the best computer to do this. Then you have your camera, which, by the way, if you move anything anywhere, make sure you register it. If you don't register the... Okay, I don't need the depth of field. So, let me make sure the music is going to... It looks like it is. But make sure you register your positions, otherwise they reset when you switch between the camera and the model. And then your light position, which this one's pretty easy. It just moves your light, which you can do on an XYZ coordinate plane, or if you're from Europe, then that would be Z. Sorry, but I'm American. You can also change the color bias, which that is a helpful tool for some things, but I usually leave things in pretty much normal lighting. As for the self shadow, this just puts the extra detail on how much shadow the model is reflecting off of itself, but you gotta balance this. So that's that. But with your accessory manipulation, if you load something in, you'll get a couple numbers down here. Now, I don't know how to work all of these, but generally you're going to want these down here and just kind of go back and forth and figure out what's what. So now that I've gone over the massively asinine interface, which is actually a lot more simple than you think it is. So, you go to model, and then you see all these little bones. I actually had a post where I put, where I said that one model had more bones than an episode of NCIS, and don't you refute that, because I have the model, and I have seen NCIS. Anyways. But basically, if you want to change the model's position, like, frick, I'm not going to be able to do this easily. So, if you go here and just drag these, you can change the model's position, and that's pretty much how you do it. Now, there are some bones that you'll pick, and, like, this one can be moved because it's one of those square ones. You also see X-shaped ones, which are rotation things. You see those on the TDA models, which are a bit more, which are a lot more complex. But this is a sort of variant of one of the base ones, which is really easy to work with. So let's see if we can try and get a nice pose in here. And I'm not sure if I can really teach and talk at the same time, but I'm gonna try. But I say but a lot. Anyways. But. Okay. Terrible humor aside. You can... Frick, I cannot collect myself. Darn it. I'm just gonna do this. And, but I kind of have a general rule when I'm modeling, and there's really not much to this, but my rule is that, if there's anything that hasn't been moved, then it probably should be moved. And the foot movement is kind of weird, but you position using the bones right there that move, because that makes sense, right? I mean, it's a foot after all. And then to fix that, you rotate the leg a little bit. So, let's see if I can fix that with this one as well. Now, one of the problems that people seem to have, and I did not have this problem, it was actually news to me to find out that this was an issue, but is making realistic looking poses. I'm really not sure why people find this difficult. Although, I should probably shut up now because I sound like such a snob. Although, I'm also an OCD perfectionist, so it's not too terrible. That does not look right. And this is going to bother me, so I'm going to fix it. There we go. That's better. Still not good. Okay, last edit, because I know that I am absolutely going to absorb all of my time with this. Also, one of the things that I think kind of bothers people is their an innate inability to visualize everything as soon as it happens. So, like, all of this won't really make sense to you as soon as you start. But after a little bit, and I really don't do this in the most teachable way either, because I am attempting to teach, which I am absolutely doing a terrible job of, so that, and my mouse doesn't like me right now. What are we going to do today, brain? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Anyways, pop culture references aside. yeah, that arm is needing to be moved. But let's see. I'm trying to think of how I want this to turn out. This is really becoming more of speed art than anything else, but I promise there is a method to my madness, assuming such method actually exists. Oh, the thumbs up motion sounds good. But yeah, it also, because of the way this works, it gets very intensive to try and move everything, so you've kind of got to figure out what you want to move where, because this will actually go all the way around. There's no reason why it shouldn't, at least not according to the coding, so watch out, because you can actually pinch stuff that's not supposed to be pinched, and like the person who did the hair didn't quite do the physics the same way, so that has an issue with with either not moving or going through things. But let's get a hand real quick. And yes, yeah, E85. Let's see. So to do hand posing, same thing as pretty much everything else, except there's kind of a bone every frickin' finger. However, with some models, you get some of the more advanced bone structures, which are the TDA models have really good thumbs, and you'll see. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But frick. Also, this magnifying glass helps out. But also, if the bones get too intense, like on one of my models they do, if you double-click your right clicker, it will actually just make the bones disappear and put you in camera mode while you still have the model selected, and you can still pose like this. Now, some of the problems here will actually be rendered away as soon as I actually go to render this. And I know that looks really weird, but again, it's a process. But if you're going to render, you go to screen size, and then you hit your screen size, and it'll tell. And am I freaking recording that? Apparently not. You can't see any of the menus. That sucks. So, yeah, but if you go up to View and select your screen size, then you can fix that. Man, I am doing terrible at this. Not the modeling, the tutorial. Although, admittedly, I did already do my productivity for the day, which was this rather sadistic poem. Because I knew that this was either going to be great or it was going to be terrible, and it looks like it's being terrible. But yeah, you gotta kind of troubleshoot your way through this. And it's not the direction I want to go. Come on. I need someone to call me a noob right now. Just in the comments, be like, noob! Because that's actually what I am, as a noob. Excuse me, pinkies don't bend like that. Unless you have a hitchhiker's thumb. But then that's... or your double jointed one too. Is that seriously the one finger that's like more bent than any of the others? And I have like an unevenness rule, so nothing is straight, and one of the things I really like to do is if I have an issue with a pose, basically try and throw that pose real quick and like strike it myself. And you can kind of see what I mean with the irritating thumb issue. Now, at the moment, this kind of looks very meh, so to kind of clean this up, if you actually notice when you do this, your fingers tighten up. So if you go to throw a thumbs up, you get a tighter finger set, so to fix that, I'm going to tighten the fingers up a little bit, using that X, Y, and Z, not Z, axis. You can do this with pretty much every bone, although I am probably going to want to do it here. Oh hey, that's a cat. Over here in real life. This is going to be fun with the cat coming in. So yeah, for those of you who have been on my channel before, you'll know that I don't actually have a cat. You'd be surprised to find that this one seems to have adopted me. Frick, camera controls. If somebody knows better camera controls, please let me know, because I want to hear them. Because MMD's camera controls suck. Is that the one I think it is? Yes, it is. Alright, so let's kind of nitpick here. And beware of incorrect bone selection, because that's actually a problem. Oh, the kitty's going in her little fort there, so she is probably about to fall asleep. And yes, it's totally humorously bad. Anyways, doing brush-ups in about the time where I really shouldn't be doing brush-ups, but still. Okay, I'm going to stop because I am going to sit there and do that for an hour. Any of my previous MMD renders kind of tell you that. But okay, let's see if I can do this a bit more speed paint-ish. I don't frickin' know, because I don't speed paint. I just jump into everything immediately. Come on, I can be faster at this. Come on. Faster. We're building frickin' ethanol here. So, yeah. I hope the music's entertaining, as well as my frustration in this thing that's supposed to be a freaking tutorial, but isn't. Oh, by the way, we gotta get down to this stuff in a second. Which, I am pretty sure this entire freaking tutorial is totally negligible to most people. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna fix the thing with the hair. So the way you do this is you go to physical operation, and it'll let you pose some of these that are usually done by physics, which I do a lot of. And if anyone remembers the NCIS and Bones post, then you'll know that, as a matter of fact, the bones in that particular model are so intense that there's so many of them that I actually can't even see the frickin' screen when I'm doing that. So there's actually one eye bone right here, controls both eyes, but I don't necessarily want to hit it right now. There we go. Now I'll try and hit it. Which, let's see. Actually, let's do the camera real quick. So, that camera actually works. So we're going to register that camera, then go back to the model because frick. And I am going to use the rotation system to position the eyes. So a quick bit to the camera. Okay. So now that actually works. So in case you're wondering about this, the bone manipulation, because that's something that is probably good to wonder about. If you hit your unregistered key, it'll tab everything that you've touched during the frame manipulation, and then if you hit register, it'll log all of it, which is good for animating. There's some other stuffs. Like I know that if you copy, like you can copy a position and then paste it, which I'm not going to try to do, but apparently you can do it, and there's a lot of key bindings that I don't know, so please feel free to disregard my advice. But facial manipulation is kind of made up here. Let's see. If we go wink. Yeah, because she is a racing girl. Let's see. Let's go up. Let's add some cheerfulness, and yes, you can actually add multiple. You can actually add multiple sliders onto a single. I cannot speak right now. I hilariously cannot speak right now. Yeah, and I also use a bit of a different style than I think a lot of people do. I don't know. I don't freaking know. So again, nitpicky. And then you can register all of those. There's another one here that is empty at the moment, but yeah. So now, let's fix her other frickin' hand. You can kind of see the clipping errors that I had described earlier, which is hilarious since my channel is Error 1009. But in this case, I don't think I really want to stress that Z coordinate, or Z coordinate, again, because international stuff. Oh, hey, it's this song. And frick. Well, I am going to do that. And just lower that right there, and then switch over to here and keep talking like I'm actually doing something. Goodness. Now let's see how that... that is painful to look at. Just saying. So, let's see if I can clean that up a bit. How is her arm rotated? I was hoping that would work. It made no frickin' difference. No frickin' difference whatsoever. Okay. That's actually an okay position for what I'm trying to do. Oh, wrong direction. Again, if you have trouble with going through poses, you can either look them up on the net if you have no idea how they work, or you can try and strike them yourself. So, I'm going to start with these fingers this time. This is really more of a... I don't know why this tutorial's turning out so terrible. Ah, goodness. In case you're my friend from DeviantArt that's totally requested this video and you are not satisfied, please leave the return stamp on the front porch. We will come pick it up and totally give you something much better than this. Just trash. Ah, goodness. But, it's kind of a... There sort of is a method to madness. Although, by the end of this, you can probably just call me Alice and be done with it. Although, well, actually, that's kind of appropriate, seeing as how the entirety of that book was written solely on the pretense of nonsense and logic, because Lewis Carroll was a mathematician, and he was kind of irritated with some of the illogical math that was coming out, that was being popularized during his time. So he wrote that book to have a laugh at it, and lo and behold, the book becomes one of the most popular books in written history. So, yeah, that's funny. Also, fun fact, the main character, Alice Little, yeah, she was a real person. I seriously doubt that the story is 100% true, but if you actually look her up, she is a real person. Or she was a real person. She was around... She was closer in time to Lewis Carroll than... Please tell me rendering will fix that. Please. Yeah, don't fret over some of this stuff, because rendering does kind of fix it. And I literally just struck this same hand motion because I wanted to make sure that I wanted to make... frick, too far. There we go. So now, to the camera! I'm not sure what it is, but something about this particular hand needs to change. So I'm going to hope that I had... Yes, I got exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, so... That looks better, though. And then, of course, the... Frick. What changed? My rotation, that's what changed. So, I like to give everything a little bit of a kink, because everything with a kink looks better. And yes, I just decided that that would look better if... it's the X? Yeah. So yeah, there's that, which I'm going to take all of these and register all of them. Register all the stuff. And then register even that. So, and then in camera mode, everything's kind of okay. So, now that we have sort of a pose to work with, we are going to, I would show you MME, but I don't think y'all can see that menu, so... Oh boy, this will be fun. So, if you load your accessory manipulation, it'll open a folder, which I guarantee you guys can't see right now. The reason being is because I know I can't record my entire screen, so I have to record other stuff. Like, I have to record this windowed, which is the only way to get it a small enough resolution that it'll actually work. But you load in your effects, and I'm going to load in Excellent Shadow. And this is going to become a major lag fest in a second. But load in Excellent Shadow, and then SSAO, which, by the way, if some of these don't load, it could be because of stuff like, what is it? Frick. Oh, I forgot to add self-overlay, which we're just going to do the regular one. Which, it looks really intense right now, which is kind of normal. And I do have to add some sort of background. And then we're just going to add the power DOF there. So, as for rendering these, you'll kind of find the settings that you particularly like. Darn it, frick. I am fixing that hair, and you cannot stop me. Frick. Darn it. I cannot fix that hair. The hair is beyond me. Oh, frick. Ah. Does that sort of work? Sort of. Not really. That's more of the model than it is my ability to pose, which I don't like blaming it on the model, but still. But you're going to have to select each of these and, again, register everything. So you go down here and experiment with your keys, and that kind of changes the way things work. So I like to keep everything under the number 1, because under 1 it actually kind of works. Now, one of these I do like 35 over here, and then 25 over here, which for some of y'all it won't look as nice, I guess. Now, one of these I'll drop it like... I always forget. Oh yeah, intense lighting, which actually works more with other characters. So let's go with, I think, 7 on this. Yeah. That might just be my style or something, I don't know. Then try that. Makes absolutely no frickin' difference, so we're just gonna leave that back at 1. And I'm going to register all of that because that's kind of important. And there we have sort of a rendered thing, so I will see if I can get this somewhere where all of you can see it, because I have no idea what's going to work with the Open Broadcaster software with which I am currently recording this. So if you go to this background and then you can load background picture, it'll open up a folder of your choice, and you can load something up. So I think since this is E85, we should probably load in a car of some sort. Which... I might want to reposition the camera for something like this one. So there. Without having to change it so that way the eyes don't need to be moved too much. There we go. So, register the freaking camera position, and then I need to turn off the grid, which you go to View and Display Coordinate Access, and then you can also turn off the ground shadow. That was transparent ground shadow. I don't want to turn off. Frick. Display ground shadow there, and have that turned off. Also, I have no idea from what angle the light is coming in on this particular picture. Oh wait, I do. Let's see. It's more from... yeah, right about there. So let's call that good. And then you can go into this self-shadow manipulation as well, and there's a couple different modes to it, so... I like to get really detailed, but I don't see much changing here because, one, it's lagging, two, I have a very small portion of my screen actually doing this. And then, once you have a picture up, you can go in here and render to picture file. And when you render it, you type in a file name, so I'm going to do E85, because that's the name of the model. And I guess less for lesson, and of course 1, because that's how I name things. JPEG. Yeah, you've got to include your file format. Otherwise, it will default it to a BMP file. And of course, the result from doing this will be put in, well, basically wherever I specify it. So, oh, and I should probably also mention, you can save stuff. So, let's make sure I do that real quick. So... oh, I love this song. Okay, so now that that's saved, I can check the renders folder, which, do I actually have that open? I don't think so. And this is lagging so bad. So I'm going to turn off all of these. I'm just going to kind of blend it up a bit, but hey, you get to see that 4-branch arrow back there. I might have an obsession with Utes, but I have a special folder that I keep all my renders in, so go and open that. So there it is. And I'm going to pull up OBS, and I believe there's a way to add a picture file. Image. Oh, frick. This is gonna be a nightmare, so bear with me while I frickin' do this. But hopefully this will kind of work. And that did not do anything. There we go. That would be the resulting image. Now there is a way to disable the edge lines since a lot of people have a hatred for them. So the way you do that is you go into your view, and if you go into your view and you open up edge line color or thickness of edge line, which is specific to each model, so in order to do that you go to model, then you have edge line thickness and the edge line color, which you can just drop the thickness down to 0 Then when you get back to camera, it won't be there. And frick. Something didn't register. Anyways, before I drive myself mad with that, how the frick did none of that register? I swear I clicked register. I swear I clicked register. Enjoy that particular model there, while I am hilariously freaking out. Anyways, that's how you do stuff. So I'm trying to think of other things that you probably want to know, and I have no idea what I'm teaching except just crap. So let's see. But okay, so an explanation on the render window size, because this is kind of important. If you have your render window size, when you go to screen size, which is a menu option in MMD, and you type in your screen size, well, what you're actually rendering is the output resolution of said image. This one is in 2160p because I can, and well, all the pixels. So so yeah, so everything I do is in 3480 by 2160. So, which is pretty crazy. But you can change that around to output whatever you want. I've done as far down as 50 by 50 in pixel resolution for some other work I was doing. Otherwise, kind of pick a pretty standard screen resolution. 1280 by 720 is a reasonable option, and other stuff as well, like I think it's, I can't remember what the full for 1080. I think it's like 1920 by 1080. But resolutions like that. Don't be an idiot and render everything as freaking huge as I do. 20 and 60. Dear science, what the frick am I thinking? Although the original idea was because it helps reduce pixelation. So, anyways, I hope someone found that helpful, and if not, then feel free to yell at me in the comments saying, "Hey, you gamer noob, why don't you actually do something useful for once?" And tell me what I missed that you would like answers on. Because I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure no one's going to look at this. So, thanks for stopping by.